You ever watch a man destroy his own life in under 2 minutes? I did. And the best part? He didn't even see it coming, not until it was too damn late. Let me back up a sec. This all happened on a transatlantic flight. First class, smooth leather seats, champagne flowing, that whole perfect vibe. I was there because, well, I had business in London. And by business, I mean national security level business. But to everyone else, I was just another young woman sitting in seat 2B, minding her own business. You know what I mean? So there I was, trying to disappear into my book, planning the next 48 hours in my head. Then this guy walks in, the pilot, Captain Richard Callahan, late 50s, silvering hair, chest full of medals. The kind of guy who oozes, I own this place. He's doing the whole charm routine with the businessmen and the diamond-dripping ladies. But when his eyes land on me, something shifts. I've seen that look before. Assessment, judgment. Young, black, first class. Didn't add up for him. Whatever, I brushed it off. I had bigger things to focus on. But peace didn't last long. About 30 minutes after takeoff, when the seatbelt sign went off and I thought maybe I'd finally relax, his shadow falls across my page. Ma'am, can I see your boarding pass again? That tone low. Controlled. The kind people use when they're already convinced you're lying. I hand it over, calm, professional. He stares at it way too long, then says my name out loud like it's an accusation. Dr. Amara Carter. And then he hits me with it. What kind of doctor are you? I smile politely. The kind who enjoys her privacy. I reach my hand out to take my pass back, but he doesn't give it back. The air in first class? Dead silent now. Everyone's watching. He keeps going, like he's on some power trip. We've had people sneaking into premium cabins. Causes disruption. The implication? I didn't belong there. My blood was boiling, but training kicked in. Observe, don't react. So I pull out my license when he asks, because I'm not about to start a scene over some fool's ego. But then, he starts bending it. Deliberately. Like he's trying to make a point. I said, Captain, return my ID. Now. My voice was quiet, controlled, but he wasn't listening. He was performing. For the passengers, for himself. And then he does it. Crack. Snaps my license clean in half. Lets the pieces drop into my lap like trash. Problem solved. He sneers and walks away. Chest puffed up like he just won something. That was the moment he lost everything. I stood up, slow, steady. No yelling, no anger. Just calm. Captain, I said, and he turned. Probably ready to lecture me again. But when he saw what I pulled from my bag, the color drained from his face so fast I swear I thought he might faint. A small, dark leather case. I flipped it open, FBI credentials and badge gleaming under the cabin lights. Special Agent Dr. Amara Carter, Federal Bureau of Investigation, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. And you, Captain, have a very serious problem. The whole cabin gasped. Chloe, the young flight attendant who'd been too scared to intervene, put her hand to her mouth. The businessman who'd been watching whispered, "Oh, damn, the captain?" He froze, like someone had cut the strings holding him upright. I took a step closer, my voice steady, almost conversational. You just destroyed federal identification in front of multiple witnesses. That's interfering with a federal officer on duty. Title 18, Section 111. Up to 8 years in prison. And yes, Captain, I've arrested people for it. He stammered something pathetic. I didn't know, but I cut him off. You're not paid to know, Captain. You're paid to fly the damn plane and treat your passengers with respect, not humiliate them for your own power trip. You could see him crumble right there. The big hero pilot? Gone. Just a man realizing he'd just torched his entire life over his own prejudice. And here's the twist most people don't know. His own co-pilot, David Morrison, had been standing in the doorway the whole time, watching everything. When I told him, "First Officer Morrison, you are now in command of this aircraft," he didn't hesitate for a second. Took the controls, nodded to me like he'd been waiting for someone to finally put this bully in his place. That's when it hit Callahan. He wasn't just humiliated, he was done. Right there, 37,000 feet in the air, he lost his command, his authority, and whatever was left of his reputation. The rest of the flight? Dead silent. People whispering. Sneaking glances at me like I was some avenging angel. I just sat back down, opened my book again, because the mission came first. But every now and then, I caught Callahan's reflection in the cockpit door window. He looked like a ghost, staring straight ahead, probably replaying every bad decision he'd ever made. Landing in London wasn't smooth for him either. The plane didn't even taxi to the usual gate. We were met by 2 black sedans and a van on a remote tarmac, law enforcement waiting. Watching him being escorted off that plane. Yeah, I won't lie, it was satisfying. Not because I like ruining people's lives, but because some lessons need to be learned the hard way. Actions have consequences. And for Richard Callahan, those consequences were brutal. Fired within 12 hours. Pilot's license revoked. Federal charges waiting back in the States. The headline a day later? Hero pilot fired after tearing up FBI agent's ID in first class. Poetic justice. But here's where it gets complicated. Months later, I saw his face in the news again. Not the proud captain, not even the disgraced pilot, just a man in a worn t-shirt, doing community service, sorting donated clothes in some dusty airport warehouse. People said he deserved it. Some said it was too harsh. Me? I didn't feel anything. He made his choices, and the universe answered. Simple as that. Still, sometimes, late at night, I wonder, did he ever sit there and really ask himself why he did it? Did he ever admit the truth to himself, that it wasn't about security, it was about me? About what I represented to him? I hope he did. Because if he didn't, well, then he's still trapped in the same ugly prison that got him here in the first place. So yeah, that's how a man with 30 years of flying under his belt managed to crash his own career harder than any plane ever could. Over a plastic card and his own damn ego. Justice? Absolutely. But what do you think? Was it enough? Should a lifetime of service be erased by one awful mistake? Or was this exactly the kind of accountability we need more of? Drop your thoughts below. Because trust me, people are still arguing about this one that you'd think that was the end of it, right? The badge drop, the walk of shame down that metal staircase. The black sedans waiting like vultures on the tarmac. But no, that was just the opening act of his real crash. What happened after? Well, that's where it got interesting. See, a lot of people think a man like Richard Callahan just fades away quietly. He doesn't. Guys like him fight it, at least at first. They call in favors. They hire expensive lawyers. They cling to their titles like life jackets. And he tried, believe me. He blamed the airline, blamed me, hell, probably blamed the weather for putting me on his flight that night. But you can't lawyer your way out of reality when the entire damn cabin witnessed what you did. When the FBI files a formal complaint and the FAA revokes your license in record time, that's game over. The twist? It wasn't me who finished him off. It was his own people. Aura Airlines couldn't wait to cut him loose. They fired him so fast it made headlines before he even landed back in the States. The FAA stripped him of his certification, and by the time the Department of Justice weighed in, he was already radioactive. No airline wanted his name anywhere near their brand. His so-called friends in the pilots' union? They went silent. And just like that, the man who once thought he was untouchable became a cautionary tale whispered over cheap beer in pilots' lounges. Did you hear about Rick? Yeah, ruined himself over a damn ID. And here's the thing. Karma didn't just take his career. It took everything else, piece by piece. His kid, Michael, cut him off completely. His ex-wives roasted him in the press, one calling him a man addicted to control. Yeah, that happened. Even his oldest friends started ghosting him because no one wants to be seen with the guy who's all over the news for being a power-drunk racist. But the part that stuck with me? It wasn't the trial, or the probation, or even the warehouse job sorting secondhand clothes near JFK Airport. No, it was something I didn't expect to feel anything about until I saw it. Months later, I was walking through Heathrow for another operation, different case, same tight schedule, and I glanced out the window of the VIP lounge. There he was, or at least, I think it was him, down on the tarmac, standing beside a cargo van, lifting boxes with a hunched back, head down, wearing this faded neon vest. For a split second, our worlds almost touched again, me up high, boarding another flight, him stuck in the gravity of his own downfall. And you know what? I felt nothing. Not pity, not anger. Just nothing. He was data now, a closed case. Just another name in a file marked resolved. That's the thing people don't get about my job. It's never personal. You can't carry that weight if you want to keep doing this for long. But if I'm honest, and I mean really honest, there was this tiny, fleeting thought I couldn't shake. Not sympathy, more like curiosity. Did he ever look at himself in the mirror and admit the truth? Did he ever say the words, even just in his own head? I did this because I couldn't stand to see her sitting where I thought she didn't belong. Or is he still telling himself it was about security protocol while he stacks boxes in that dusty warehouse? Because that's the real prison, you know, the kind you build inside your own head. And yeah, before you ask, I've heard people argue about it ever since. Some say he deserved every bit of it, that a man with that much power should never get a free pass. Others say a single bad decision shouldn't erase 30 years of service. I'm not here to debate it. I'm here to tell you what happened. But I'll leave you with this. Power doesn't reveal who you are. It amplifies who you've always been. And on that flight, Richard Callahan showed us exactly who he was. So what do you think? Did he get what he deserved? Or did the system go too far? Drop your thoughts below, because I guarantee you, this debate isn't over.